Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this hopefully 1 hour yin yoga session. Hopefully the volume is a little bit better on this one, and it feels a little strange for me because when I teach, I generally don't do the practice with you. Unless I have to instruct a certain pose, but bear with me. I'm going to more than likely do the whole class, and that way you can see the asanas or the poses in their the true expression of their form. I always recommend, as in any class, but specifically with yin and restorative, if you have a bolster or a pillow, and maybe 1 or 2 blankets, please go ahead and have those handy. I also definitely think I'll be using a block for Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. So if you don't have a block, and a lot of you might not, you can just, again, use a pillow or a couple of blankets. You can even go to a wall and just send your legs up the wall. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. We'll begin in a Shavasana position, lying down on our backs. You all know that's my favorite position to start a class in. I believe that it allows us to completely relax, especially as we set up for this yin class. So use whatever props you have to find your comfortable Shavasana pose. The traditional expression of the pose is on the back, feet and hands wide in corpse pose position. But if you'd like to bring in props, you can put a bolster or a pillow under your legs. You can put a blanket under your head. I like to be in a Supta Baddha Konasana position when I am in Shavasana. So I bring the soles of my feet to touch. I allow my knees to go wide. I sometimes bring in blocks under my knees, and then maybe even rest a blanket over my pelvis area. So go ahead and start to settle in. Begin to find your comfortable Shavasana. Begin to allow the entire body to release and soften. Swaha, let everything go here. And start to notice what's happening in the mental body and in the physical body and with the breath body. Notice the spirit within. Feel the energy around you, even though we're so far away from one another. Continue to feel the connectedness, the closeness that we have with one another here. And if you will, think about why you're on your mat. What brought you to your mat? And maybe use this answer as your intention for your practice. And also, as you meditate through the practice, continue to think about what you'll take with you when you leave your mat. And all of you know, I like to constantly remind you that most of our yoga takes place off of the mat. So as you breathe through each asana, each pose, think about what you'll take with you when you leave. Continue to release and soften from the tippy toes to the crown of the head. Begin to observe what's happening in the mental body. Notice your thoughts, maybe images, memories, maybe a person, or people. Allow everything to kind of be there in the headspace. Release attachment, release judgment. And then let it go. Give yourself the permission for the next hour to let it go. And as you let everything go, remember to love you, love your practice. Love your practice for what it was yesterday, for what it will be tomorrow. But most importantly, love it right now for what it is showing you, teaching you, and giving you right now, right here in this moment. Continue to come back to the body, scan the body from the toes to the crown of the head. Continue to release and soften. Not placing too much emphasis on areas of the body that might feel a little bit more chatty in this moment. Come back to the breath. Begin to feel the breath flowing into the body, flowing out of the body. Just notice how the breath feels. Notice the rise and the fall. And then when you're ready, slowly and gently, begin to deepen the breath in whatever way feels comfortable for you. Maybe for the moment, just picture the breath expanding into the belly, the rib cage, and the chest, like a balloon. And then slowly and gently releasing, deflating from the chest to the rib cage to the belly. Inhale into the belly, the rib cage, and the chest. Exhale from the chest to the rib cage to the belly. Inhale, expand and open. Exhale, let it all go. Continue this breath work, this Dirgaswasan Pranayama, for several rounds at your own pace. Notice maybe a slight shift in the mind, a slight shift in the body. Maybe things start And as you do this, I'm going to make my way down into Shavasana so that I can move through the practice with you. Continue to feel the breath here. Maybe bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Continue to feel the slow and deep and gentle breaths here. And when you're ready, release your hands down by your side. And turn the head to the left. Pausing here for a moment. Just notice how it feels to turn the head in this direction. Notice the sensations. And as you do this, maybe close the eyes. And try to keep the mind from wandering. Use the breath to control the monkey mind here. Take your time, bringing your head back to center and pause. I like to make Dhyana Mudra with my hands, bringing my index fingers to touch my thumbs. Generally, whenever I'm in Shavasana, to help with concentration and focus. And then when you're ready, turn the head over to the right and pause. Slowly and gently bring the head back to center, pausing for a moment. And then reach the hands overhead, interlace the fingers, and press the palms toward the ceiling. You can stay here. Maybe you start to lower the hands to the floor. Engage through the core here. Feel the ribs lifting. Extend the arms, while also trying to relax through the shoulders and neck. Let everything be heavy. Find that line between effort and ease. And release the hands. You can unclasp and just stretch the arms, reaching from the tippy toes to the fingertips. Almost like you have someone at your feet, someone at your hands, pulling feet and the hands away from one another. And go ahead and relax. Bring the the soles of the feet to the mat. The feet are wide on the mat here. Bring the knees to touch in constructive rest. Pausing for a moment. Always practicing moving or not moving with intention. And however you'd like to get there, go ahead and send the feet and the hands up to the ceiling. So the soles of the feet are touching the ceiling and the palms as well. Hold here for a moment. And then slowly let everything lower back down. Stretch again from the fingertips to the tippy toes. And then if you're at a wall, which I am, you can scooch over and begin to send the legs up the wall here. You can also use a bolster, a blanket, a block to lift the bum higher. Or to support the lower body as you hold this position on your mat. Try to let everything go here. Release and soften. Continue to keep the monkey mind from wandering. Find the breath maybe switch to Ujjayi Pranayama if that feels good in your body, by sealing the lips, slightly closing the back of the throat, like you're fogging up a mirror in a bathroom. You'll make a Darth Vader-like sound. That's okay. And take a few deep breaths. Allow the body and the mind to continue to settle. And when you're ready, you can make your way out of Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. And for a moment, find constructive rest once more, bringing the knees to touch, allowing the feet to go wide. And keeping the feet wide, let's just start to windshield wiper the legs. Moving with intention, following the breath. Move slowly here, really feel the sensations, the soles of the feet touching the mat, the knees, and how they feel when they lower closer to the earth, the hips. And on your next breath in, bring the legs back together. Allow the soles of the feet to touch here and the knees to go wide. In Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle, or I like to call it reclined butterfly. If it feels better to bring support in under the legs, you can do that with blankets or pillows or blocks if you have them, even bolsters. And remember, it's okay if your pose looks different than mine. Find some stillness wherever you are. Allow the body to settle completely. come back to that Ujjayi pranayama. And just breathe in and out, slowly and deeply, for a few rounds in each pose. And if at any point the sensations become too intense, just come out of the pose. Find a pose that works for you. You can use the hands to help bring the knees back toward one another, and pause for a moment in this bridge prep position with the soles of the feet on the mat, hips width distance, so line those heels up with the hip bones, and just pause. And when you're ready, you can draw one knee into the chest. Maybe pause here for a moment before drawing the other knee in. Maybe the feet stay wide. Maybe the toes touch in Supta Balasana. You can hold the knees, the shins, behind the thighs. Continue to draw the knees toward the armpits here. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you start to move into Happy Baby. And you can always do this one leg at a time and just see how it feels in the hips. You can grab the outer edge of the foot and draw the knee toward the armpit. Maybe release one leg and then hold the other, pausing for a moment. Maybe this side feels different, that's okay. Maybe you want to move into Happy Baby here. Again, continuing to hold the outer edges of the feet. Bring the knees toward the armpits. Maybe you stay here. Maybe it's more comfortable to hold behind the thighs. Just find your comfortable pose. And wherever you settle, release and soften. Once more, down to the mat. Extend the legs once more. Reach the arms overhead. Stretch from the tippy toes to the fingertips. And then when you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto the belly. Setting up for a moment in crocodile. Stack the hands, rest the forehead on the stacked hands. Feet are at least hips width distance here. If you want them wider to support the lower back, you can do that, especially if there's any pinching in the lower back here. While you're in this prone position, go ahead and take a few deep breaths, practicing that Dirga Swasana Pranayama on your belly. Breathe into the belly, the rib cage, and the chest. Breathe out from the chest to the rib cage to the belly. And do this deep breathing a few times. And really visualize the air energetically moving through every space, every place in the body. And as you exhale, allow everything to energetically leave the body, taking with it anything that doesn't serve you. And go ahead and bring the right hand under the shoulder here. Bend the left arm out to the side. We're going to move into an intense shoulder stretch from here. So tops of the feet can be firmly planted in the mat for a moment. Try to rest the head, feel the position, and then when you're ready, start to roll the body over toward the left. If you feel any pulling in the elbow, you can make a 90-degree angle with the arm. And listen to your body here. The legs will just naturally find a position. Try to relax the head and neck. You might find as you hold the pose, you can go a little bit deeper with each breath. And use the right hand to support the body, slowly rolling back onto the belly. Find crocodile pose once more, resting the forehead on the stacked hands. And then when you're ready, I'm going to turn my back to you this time so you can see the pose as I move into it. Extend the right arm out to the side, keeping the hand in line with the shoulder here. Bring the left hand under the left shoulder and start to roll the body over toward the right. Again, maybe this side feels different, and that's okay. And then when you're ready, go ahead and slowly, moving with intention, roll back onto the belly. Bring the hands under the forehead in crocodile, pausing for a moment here. Bring the hands under the shoulders, come up into a tabletop position. Excuse me while I adjust. Bring the hands under the shoulders here, knees under hips. You can tuck the toes, you can lay the tops of the feet on the mat. Just find what's comfortable and start to engage through the core. Really feel the ribs here lifting toward the ceiling. You want to keep this core engagement as we move through cat and cow a few times. On the inhale, gently lower the belly, lift the tailbone, chest and chin. On the exhale, round the spine, draw the belly button in, lower the head. Inhale, send the chest forward, lift the chin. Exhale, draw the belly button toward the spine, lower the head. Inhale to happy cow. Inhale, Marjariasana. Exhale, Vittalasana. One more time, inhale, Happy Cow. Exhale, Angry Cat. Inhale to find a lengthened spine here. Pause for a moment. Feel the lift in the ribs. And if it's comfortable, bring the toes to touch and start to sink the hips back to child's pose. If possible, bring the head down to the mat or to a blanket. Maybe you extend the arms forward. Maybe you bring the arms back toward the feet. Wherever you are, just start to settle into the pose. And with each full breath, feel the hips lowering just a little bit more and a little bit more. Imagine sinking into the mat, the floor, the earth beneath you with each full breath, each inhalation and exhalation. And if your hands are behind you, go ahead and send both hands forward and reach as far as you can toward the top of your mat. Come up onto the fingertips here, still resting the head. And then relax the hands. Come back up into a tabletop position. Again, stacking knees under hips here. Hands under shoulders. Feel the lift in the ribs. On the inhale, gently lower the belly, lift the tailbone, chest and chin. And on the exhale, round the spine, lower the head. Inhale to Happy Cow, Marjariasana. Exhale, Angry Cat, Vittalasana. Inhale, gently lower the belly, lift the tailbone, chest and chin. Exhale, draw the belly in, lower the head. Inhale one more time, Marjariasana, Happy Cow. Exhale, Vittalasana, Angry Cat. Inhale, find a lengthened spine here. Again, absorb the ribs. Pausing for a moment. Maybe if the feet are flat on the mat, try tucking the toes here and see how that changes the sensation. And then if you can, go ahead and grab a couple of blankets or your pillow. I'm going to grab a block here. You can make your way back down onto the mat. And we'll pause for a moment in constructive rest. Bring the knees to touch. Allow the feet to go wide. Pause here. Feel the breath. Maybe even bring the hands to the lower belly. Allow the index fingers to touch along with the thumbs, making this diamond-like shape on the lower belly. And just feel the breath here. And release the hands. Have your prop handy. Set up for bridge, Setu Bandha Sarvandasana. So again, feet are hips width distance here. Imagine there's a yoga block between the knees. So we don't want our knees to splay out wide. On the inhale, you can relax the hands down by your side, lengthen the spine, flatten the back, and on the exhale, squeeze, lifting the buttocks, hips, and pelvis up toward the ceiling. And this is when I'd like for you to go ahead and bring in your prop and allow the back body to settle on whatever prop you're using here. So you have options. You can keep the knees bent, keeping the soles of the feet on the mat. You can start to extend the legs, maybe extending one leg at a time. Again, moving slowly and with intention here. This might be too much for you. If that's the case, just bring the soles of the feet back to the mat, bend the knees, allow the body to settle. If you find that you're in a pose and the body cannot let go completely, maybe you're having weird sensations or there are chatty areas. Adjust the pose, come out of the pose, modify the pose so that you can find comfort here. Wherever you are, because our necks are in this compromised position, don't do what I'm doing right now. Don't move the neck and the head from left to right. Try to imagine keeping the gaze straight up at the ceiling. And again, maybe your eyes are closed. Maybe if you're having a hard time closing the eyes, just find a drishti, find a focal point, something your eyes and mind can focus on to keep the monkey mind from wandering. We're always working to keep the mind present. You come back to the breath. Maybe call to mind your intention if you set one. And again, meditate here on what you might take with you off the mat. extended, moving one leg at a time, bring the soles of the feet back into that bridge prep position. Pause for several breaths here. Allow the body to transition with ease. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, squeeze through the lower body, lift the body off of whatever prop you're using, and pause here. Take another breath in. And on the exhale, lower everything down as one unit. Again, let's bring the soles of the feet to touch. Allow the knees to fall wide here in Supta Baddha Konasana. You can stay in this pose for a moment. I'm going to come out of the pose. Maybe you stay in Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe there is another Shavasana position that works for you. You can extend the legs out on the mat. Allow the hands to fall naturally by the side. Again, bringing in whatever props you might need. It's always nice having a blanket over the pelvis. Maybe you have an eye pillow at home you like to use. Pillows or bolster and blankets under the legs. Just find your comfortable Shavasana for final relaxation. Yoga Nidra. And wherever you are, close the eyes. Observe the mental body, the entire physical body. Observe the breath, feel the breath. Notice the spirit within. Absorb the energy around you and feel the connectedness we have here with one another. you choose, since you're in the comfort of your own home, to just stay in this position, feel free to do so. Otherwise, maybe you can roll on to your favorite side, resting the head in the crook of the elbow for just a moment. What is your outlook when you enter a room? Do you look for something interesting, inspiring, or beautiful? Do you look for life's sweetness? Or do you immediately begin critiquing what you see? It is easy to fall into a pattern of criticizing and reacting negatively, but it is important to realize that this is a choice and that you can change it. If you have to choose between focusing on negative qualities and focusing on sweetness, why would you choose anything but sweetness? When we look for life's sweetness, we find it. That is not to say that everything is sweet or that we shouldn't speak out when it isn't. But in an everyday sense, ask yourself at any given moment, what can I find here that is sweet? How can I invite that experience of sweetness more deeply into my life? When you're ready, we'll meet in Sukhasana, a comfortable, easy seat. And bring the hands to heart center. Think of your intention. What will you take with you off the mat? Bring the hands to the center of the forehead in honor of mindful thought, to the lips in honor of mindful speech, and back down to heart center, always being mindful of love, kindness, compassion, and empathy for yourself first, and then for all others. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you live with ease. Let us bow to one another as we say, Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. I miss all of you. Can't wait till this is over. Take care. Namaste, yogis.